Today on Capechi's Corner, we're going to be solving multi-step inequalities, and this is the first day. Okay, so looking at example 1, we're going to solve inequalities just like we solved equations. So I'm going to kind of draw my wall at that inequality sign. It says that we're going to graph the solutions on the number line. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to get x by itself. So I have to distribute, so I have negative 12x plus 4 plus 6x, and the other side is 16. Now I can combine my negative 12x and my 6x. That gives me negative 6x. I'm going to bring down that plus 4 and bring down that 16. Okay, I'm going to subtract 4 from either side. And I have negative 6x is greater than or equal to 12. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. But just remember, when you divide by a negative number, you got to change the direction of the sign, right? So that was greater than and equal to. Now it becomes less than or equal to. So again, you have to remember that when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you change the direction of the sign. So my final answer is x is less than or equal to negative 2. All right, here's my number line, less than or equal to. So that includes negative 2. So remember, I'm going to have a closed circle, and all numbers that are less than or equal to negative 2 are to the left. All right, let's try another one. Okay, this one is the same idea. I'm going to draw our wall. I'm going to bring my variables to one side and my constants to the other side. I like to bring my variables to the left-hand side, but if you want to work it the other way, that's fine. I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I have negative 3x is less than negative 17. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Now remember, again, we divided by a negative number. I'm going to change the direction of the sign. So it gives me 17 over 3. We usually like things in improper fractions in algebra, but when I go to graph on a number line, I have to make sure that I know where I'm going. So 17 divided by 3 doesn't help me just like that. So if I divide that, I end up getting about x is greater than or equal to about 5.7. So that I'm going to need that when I do my number line. So there's my 0, there's 2, there's 4, there's 6. So I'm a little bit less than 6. And again, that's an open circle. So I'm not including 5.7, and I'm going to the right, right? Because it's greater than, which is an open circle. Okay, let's keep going. Again, there's my wall. I have my 88 on the left-hand side. I have negative 33 plus 11x plus 88. Okay, so I'm going to combine what I have on this left-hand side. That gives me positive 55 plus 11x. Okay, I'm going to bring my 55 to the other side. And I have 33 is greater than or equal to 11x. Now this time my variable ends up on the right hand side, and that's only because if I look at my beginning inequality, I only have a number on the left hand side. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to leave all my numbers on the left hand side, which is fine. So I'm going to divide both sides by 11, and I end up having 3 is greater than or equal to x. So now it's easier to graph. That's right. That's not a wrong answer. That's right. I like to put my variable on the left-hand side because it makes it a little easier for me to graph. I'm pointing to the x, so I'm going to continue to point to the x. So really, they mean the same thing. If 3 is greater than or equal to x, that's the same thing as saying x is less than or equal to 3. So that's why I can do that. I'm not changing the value. I'm just simply finding a different way to rewrite it. So I'm going to have a closed circle at negative 3, and my arrow goes to the left. Okay, now let's see what he says in example 4. It says identify the error that was made in solving each inequality that will result in incorrect solution shown. Then solve the inequality correctly. Well, here is my inequality. My answer here was n is greater than negative 6. So let's just figure out what happened. I'm going to combine my like terms first. I end up with negative 2n plus 1 is greater than 13. Sometimes when I'm trying to find a mistake, it's easier just to do the problem yourself and then go from there. So I have 2n is greater than 12. I divide both sides by negative 2. Now I divided by a negative number, so I'm going to change the direction of my sign. So then I have n is less than negative 6. Now up here it says n is greater than or negative 6. So what happened is in that original problem, whoever did that problem, the mistake is that they forgot to change the sign, forgot to change the direction of the sign when dividing by a negative number. When dividing by a negative number. Negative number. And that happens sometimes. So we just got to always be careful. Okay? That's why the answers are slightly different. All right, let's take it to the next one. The next one says there are no solutions. So we have to figure out what that means. So here's my wall. I'm going to move my variables to left-hand side, and I can see that zeroes out right away. So I have 3 is greater than negative 7. So this kind of just brings up an interesting point. There's no x there, right? So is 3 greater than negative 7? Is that a true statement? Yes, that is. So what that means is all values will work. All numbers will work. Okay, so that's what the mistake was up here. This one says no solutions will work. So here's the thing. When would it be no solutions? What if we change the sign the other direction? 3 is never less than negative 7. So that would be a no solution. So just so you know the difference between no solution and all numbers. Okay, thanks so much for stopping by today. You have a great day.